Good evening, everyone. I'd love to welcome you back to the Cosmic Cuppa with Jude. I hope you've all got your cuppas ready because we're going to have a beautiful cosmic sip or more tonight. And I would love to introduce you to a very amazing lady, Janine Savient, who's called the Heart Lady. Don't you just love that? Hi, Janine. How are you?
Hi, Jude. It's so lovely to be here. Thank you for inviting me. I'm really looking forward to this evening.
Thank you. So am I. And I'm sure all our lovely guests are too. To start with, if I may, I'd like to read out your profile.
Certainly.
Thank you. Janine brings many gifts to this reality. She is an intuitive visionary, a seer, a published writer, a songster now, scripting words for songs, speaker and facilitator. However, she calls herself a messenger for love. Now, a wee while ago, we had the Star Lady on, Mary Rodwell, so now we've got the Heart Lady. We're really getting it all together. Janine lives her life within the gold frequency of pure love, teaching and supporting others with all love teaches and supports her within her own life. Janine shares, love's messages through her daily online social media platforms, her Patreon platform, as blogs on her website, and through online courses and one-to-one consultations. She is passionate in her purpose to walk beside the inner traveller. I love that, the inner traveller. Janine has been awake to the truth of herself and this reality since she came here. Her focus is found in supporting all those ready to awaken to the deep truth of themselves also. Through her awareness of life as a multi-layered reality and herself as a multi-dimensional being, Janine shares her knowing with those ready to deepen their own life experience. Her mission is to help raise the vibration here to love through all that love brings: truth, trust, compassion, unity, gratitude, courage, thriving, joy, peace, freedom, powerful words. And this is done through the softening down of minds and the opening of hearts around this planet. The new emerging world is created via inner doorways, opening now within all human beings, and through which the purity of love arises. As it enters this reality, it is recreating the newest version of the human being, whilst bringing into view a world of beauty, a pristine natural world for the new human to survive in. Those words are so powerfully beautiful. So happy, happy day, beautiful heart.
Thank you.
Let's share the love. Where shall we start? Let us begin with open smiles, eyes beaming brightly, and cheekiness that beguiles. Let us open our minds to having fun as love fills our hearts one by one, and coming together in the joy of just being. It's a beautiful world that we are seeing. I love you. These are words from Janine. Bless you.
Thank you.
Bless you, bless you, bless you.
Thank you, Jude.
Could you please talk to us about your incarnation into this world at birth, your first memories and your early years, if you would care to tell us, please.
I have to do a condensed version. So my very earliest memory, I was about 2 months old, and I was lying in my bassinet one night, and I had a sense of being restricted, of not being able to move properly. And my mother used to make these little sleeping bags where she'd pop me in as a baby, and I couldn't get my hands out and scratch my face. So she'd make these little sleeping bags and do them up at the neck. And I felt all constricted in the bag. And then I had a realization that it actually was the body. It wasn't the bag. I was feeling restricted in the body. And I was battling. I was really battling. And this is why it's my earliest memory, and I've carried it through to today. So I was really battling. And then I felt this presence into the room, and this is the very first time of right through my childhood and early adult years that this presence came to me when I was in a time of struggle or hardship. So this presence arrived, and I felt the presence before the being came over to the bassinet, and then over came this incredible angelic being, very, very tall, very beautiful, very beautiful. And the being bent down and just touched me with both hands. And I immediately settled right down. I immediately calmed. I immediately fitted. Everything was fine in that moment. And then scooped me up and just held me in the most beautiful embrace right next to the most beautiful heart. And then I went to sleep. And all through my childhood, that being came to me. And then I would have been, condensing it right down, I'll come back, but I would have been in my 20s, late 20s, and I was in meditation one night, and in my meditation, I stepped into this room. I've always had the ability to move through realities. So when I'm in a vision, I'm actually there in consciously. So I stepped into this room, and I saw this beautiful little girl across the room, and she was in a fetal position, wrapped around her own knees, drawn right up, and she was in a corner and she was crying. So I went across the room naturally and scooped her up, and in that moment realized that I myself had always been the angelic being that had come to me all my life. So that was hugely emotional in that realization, in that moment, that it had always been me that had loved me and held me and supported me. And so that's like that memory of 2 months old that has really stuck in me, because it's the first time the higher part of me, or a higher aspect, came in. So as I moved through childhood, I realized that I was very different to everybody else in my family, vastly different. And I had the most beautiful team of in those days playful childhood friends. And I used to, I had a beautiful upbringing as well, so I wasn't lacking for anything. I had a mother who deeply loved me, and a father who was the provider. And as fathers were in those days, they showed their love by everything that they provided for their families. And so I had everything, 3 brothers, but I was vastly different, and my world was very, very different. And for me, my family lived in a black and white box, and I lived in all the technicolor world around it. And so I was always playing with the beings. I was always being taught by the beings. They were totally unconditional love, very benevolent. So that's how I was being taught to be naturally love. And then on the physical level, my mother was very, very loving, a very loving lady. So on the physical level, I had that as well. So I had teachers on both the physical and the metaphysical. showing me from the earliest age what love was, how love felt, the power of love, the creativity of love, the passion of love, the laughter of love, and all these different aspects of it. And then as I grew, the team changed from my playful friends to teachers that were here to actually guide me, teach me. And although they are benevolent too, and they're very, very beautiful, and they have even have like a lightness, a sense of humor, kind of. They were here for business, because I was here for business, so they were as well. So there wasn't so much playtime with them. So they said to me one day when I was younger, and I was very, very down, because I was an incredibly sensitive child, and I feel energy very, very deeply. Have done all my life. In fact, this reality is more vibrational to me than it is physical. And so I was very down this day because I wasn't fitting somewhere, or something wasn't right for me and my family. And they said to me, "Dear one, you are the tall purple poppy in the cabbage patch." So I got this vision of all these squat green cabbages, and here I was, the beautiful willowy tall purple poppy, and I'm swaying gracefully in the wind, and they're all just stuck there as squat green cabbages. I think I shared that with you already, but I just love that vision. It's just it gives me a big smile, anyway. So I went right through my childhood, vastly different to everybody in my area, my entire area where I lived. There was nobody that I found that understood me or saw me, so I was labeled all these names like ridiculous and crazy and witchy poo, you name it, and I got all those, but I was okay with that, because it had never been any different for me. And my father loved me dearly, but he couldn't understand me at all, not in any shape or form. So he tried to mold me to his idea of how I should be in a black and white world. And the more he tried to mold me and pushed me, I pushed back, and I dug my heels in. And so I realized much, much later in early adulthood that he was actually one of my guides, and he was embodied. He was an embodied guide, and he was supporting me to find the strength to stand up and say, "This is who I am, and I won't change because you don't understand me or see me." And that's how it's always been for me my entire life. It's like, how you see me, what you say about me, that shows me who you are, not who I am. So, and I feel that with love. It's always with love for the people. So, but that's okay. I don't even really have that now. There's too many of us that are on the leading edge of this change now that could be deemed as not normal, and I believe we are the normal ones. So
that's a lovely twist on it, Janine, actually, isn't it?
Yes,
And
yes.
I think I grew up feeling absolutely not normal, outside the square box.
Yep.
I think it was a wonderful start in life for you to feel so enclosed in love.
Absolutely.
How many families actually experience that? And to not only have the physical and emotional love of your family here, but to have that beautiful metaphysical and very real love from your family there, if I can term it that way.
Yes.
How
absolutely.
wonderful.
Yeah, it was. I was doubly blessed. And of course, at the time, I didn't realize that what I was actually learning deeply was love itself, to go out into a world that had no idea what love really was, because most human beings had completely and absolutely forgotten the power and purity of the deep love that is their essence, that is their core. And so, the only type of love that's known in the world is superficial lust, is need, is more need than love, is lust, is like, it can be so many different things, but it is not the purity of the gold frequency of our essence. And so, I was trained, if you like, I was taught or trained all the way through my childhood. And even when I reached my teenage years, I became a real rebel. like I became a real rebel. I pushed back against this world in every way a teenager can do when your hormones are aging and you're coming into your power and finding your voice. And if I could play up, if I could stretch the rules of society, then I was right there doing that. So, and then at about 19, I found my very first spiritual group. And I walked into that room, into that group, and for the first time in my life, I felt I was with other human beings who saw me, who understood me. And I was with that group for many years, many years. In fact, I see that there's a man here by the name of John Bird, and I just wondered if John's from Christchurch. Does anybody here, or John yourself, are you from Christchurch? Because if you are, I knew you way back then. He's not around. It's just
That's okay. He may not have access to be able to speak. John was one of my very dear friends, and he has been here a long time.
Okay. So it's
very, very probable, I would think.
Yeah. Okay.
Bless your heart.
Yes.
Janine, do you still have the same soul matrix now that you incarnated with at birth, or has this changed? If so, why did that come about, and what is your main purpose at this time?
Wow, that's an interesting question. So in 2011, October the 14th, at 11 minutes past 11, I arrived in this body. So I'm what is termed awaken, and actually what I am is a higher aspect of my own soul energy. So I'm all one now, I'm completely blended. So I'm not the previous and the new aspects. That took me about 6.5 to 7 years to blend everything into the one. But yes, I was aware when I came in, I was aware of who I was, where I'd come from, why I was here. Most walk-ins don't have any memory. They wake up in the body one day and life is so totally different for them, and they haven't got any recognition of anything that they ever recognized as who they were. It's just not there now. So it's very, very difficult for a lot of people. But for me, I came in with my full memory of it all, and over the next 2 or 3 years, my very clear vision of where I'd come from faded as this reality got stronger. And 2 or 3 times I tried to opt out. I decided I'd changed my mind, and I was gently pushed back into the body again. So I came here for 2 reasons. One was because the original aspect was very, very tired, very, very tired, and was considering exiting the body. So the second part I came here for was to bring the enhanced knowing from the civilization that I came from from the higher frequency that I brought in, to bring an enhanced knowing to the foundation of love that was already within the cells and the body and the memory of Janine. So, so like you could say I'm on a mission. We all are. Every single one of us is here for purpose. And for me, my particular, because we're all links in the chain, but my particular link is that I support the inner traveler. It's as simply as that. There's so many waking up now. There's so many asking questions. There's so many wondering. There's so many that feel searching for something that they can just feel, they just remember, but they don't really know, and they want to get there. And so this is my role, is I just walk beside them and help support them in their own knowing and their own truth and their own return to the truth, the love of themselves. So that is what's bringing in the new world here, is as we rise in our vibration, as we come back into the full truth and knowing of ourselves, that frequency is changing this world around us, which is the new world coming into focus.
Beautifully said. Oh my goodness. Can I ask whereabouts you came from? You talked about your family coming from somewhere else? Am I able to ask where you come from or feel your home planet is, or your dimensional area, however that works?
So my it's not actually that we have a home planet, even though we believe
I understand that.
Yeah, we're got aspects everywhere. So I came from a Syrian planet, and in that constellation there's 23 planets, and of course here on Earth we only know, I think, A and B. So there's quite a few planets that haven't been discovered yet, and I come from one of the undiscovered planets. And
beautiful.
I can't tell you a lot about it now. I could tell you in detail and with much clarity in the first 2 or 3 years. But it's now I just have a sense of it, a sense of, but that's about all. So yes, that's where I came from. I came here wide awake deliberately as part of my mission in the first 5 or 6 years, because I was supporting a lot of other walk-ins. So a lot of other walk-ins were fumbling around. Some of them had been, I say fumbling because it's like they were living blind. They just could not work out what had happened to them and why their lives had changed so much and why they never fitted into what was obviously a fit before, So I supported them, and I was told very early on that I'd always be able to recognize somebody that had walked in and was needing my support, because they have like a very subtle silver glow about them, just out from the body, not the auric field, but something different again. So whenever I saw that, or if I was doing a public talk, and I'd always be told, there's 2 in the room, dear one, 2 today you focus your talk on. So I'd just start talking and I'd look around, I'd see them. And then after I'd finished my talk, they would always come over to me, sometimes crying, sometimes bewildered, just because, they're finally finding out why their life's been tipped upside down and inside out. And so they could then go away and work with that, So that's why I came in wide awake, was part of that. The early years was to help others. Now, here on the earth, there are so many walk-ins. It's absolutely incredible. There are so many soul aspects opting out before all the earth changes and all the big stuff happens. And so many other aspects coming on and changing of the guard, if you like, is happening all around this globe at the moment. It's actually the same with so many beautiful, beautiful civilizations that are supporting us. They're not out there watching. They are right here walking amongst us, right here. And there's millions of them right here on the planet walking amongst us. Some are embodied, and some are so higher vibrational that we don't see them from where we are. But as we rise in vibration, they'll reveal themselves more and more and more.
So be it. Bring it on, is all I say. Bring it on. Could you please, Janine, tell us about the multi-leveled existence you experience? How do you navigate these realms to widen your experiences and deepen your knowing? I imagine it could be, for me anyway, would be incredibly difficult to have a multi-leveled experience or experiences for me in the here and now. Could you explain a little bit about that, please, and how you navigate all of that?
Sure, Jude. If it just happened overnight, it would throw you into a complete tiz. Like it could even give you a bit of a breakdown or something like that, But because it's always been my life, because from the moment I was here, I could see other beings. I knew other realities. I always felt that, because that's how I navigate my life, is by feeling. And so I'd always feel presences. I'd feel shifts, subtle shifts in energy. I'd feel when I'm moving through into another reality. And so for me, it's always been like that. And now that I'm an adult, I have a lot more control over it. But when I was a child, it was a little more hit and miss. But, it's like when I was a child, I realized early on I could feel into what people were carrying. and what emotion they were carrying, what feelings they were carrying. I wouldn't say I was reading their mind. I was feeling their body field, you know, and that's where all the data actually is in our body. This software up here that's been put into us is nothing to do with us, really, this thinking mind. So I'd feel into their body, and often their words wouldn't match what they were carrying in their body. And so often I'd have an adult say to me, so when you were listening to Auntie so-and-so, you know, what was she feeling when she was saying what she was saying? And if I said what was expected, what was wanted to be heard, I would get a pat on the back. And if I said something that wasn't what wanted to be heard, I'd get a clip around the ear. So I learned very early on not to say anything. And if I was asked, I'd just say, no, I don't know. I don't know. And so even now, like right through here I am, 60 odd years later, and I always feel into people, or like it's just natural for me. I never judge. There's never ever any judgment. I never say anything. I never share what I'm getting unless it's in communication. I'm told that this must be given, this must be shared. But most of the time it's just moves through me. And so a multi-leveled reality is the understanding and the awareness that we are in a field. So we are in a field of vibration, and we are vibration within that field of vibration. We are not part of it. It moves right through us. So it's forever moving through us, and we are moving through it. And so I have an ability to be able to raise my vibration up, and when I do, I move into a different reality. So, you know, and that's where I can see other beautiful beings, and that's why I know they're all here. And different civilizations are on different frequencies within the bandwidth of this reality. So, you know, there's been so much told to us. Like I would hazard a guess that like 95% of what's been taught to us our entire lifetime about what spirituality is, what life is all about, is a fabrication. It is an inverted truth to keep us completely off track and separate from the deepest truth of ourselves. And so we've been taught that there's a big universe out there, and we're on a planet in that universe, when the truth actually is we never leave ourselves to go anywhere. We come inwards and we go through into the universe. We are a portal, and we just bring our awareness down, we go through, and we can be in any other civilization. But we have to totally believe that, we have to totally trust in that without any doubt, for us to be able to really experience that. And more experiencing this all the time, more and more realizing now as they come into their innate truth that the portal was down and through. We don't pull white light into us. That's another inverted truth. Where does it come from? Where does this white light come from? There is no heaven. I'm probably going to rock some socks here, but there is no heaven and hell. Everything is here in this bandwidth. We create the heavy and we create the light. You see, it's all right here. So we can't pull light from somewhere else through us. It rises up in us. That's where it comes from. It rises up in us, and it's not pure white. It's the softest golden glow with iridescent flecks of white through it. It's so, so deliciously beautiful. This is pure love. This is the purity stream of love, the gold frequency that is the light of who we are. So this comes up in us. And when we understand, when we turn it all around and we understand, we don't bring it in from outside, we breathe it up in us, we experience something that we would never experience by drawing it in from somewhere else. And so also, while I'm on that subject, we don't go anywhere when we die. When our body ceases, because it's organic matter and it goes back to the earth, we ourselves, as beautiful vibrational beings, we go back into nature. We are the elements of nature right here, We are the wind, we are the sun, we are the oceans, we are the fire, the earth, we are all of it. And when our essence leaves this vessel, we go back into the expanded state of all of nature here. We are it all. So we stay within this huge bandwidth of a reality, just in a completely different, more expanded form. Our loved ones are always with us right here, always. It's part of the separation that we've been given in the inverted truth, that they are somewhere else, because it adds to the grief, it adds to the emptiness and the hole, the space that's been left behind. And this is what these inverted truths are all about, to keep us separate from knowing our own power, our own being, and who and what we truly are. So as a multidimensional being, I know all these layers and all these levels and all these realities, and I know the inverted truths and what is real truth. And it's wonderful that so many are standing right there now on the edge with me and knowing it too, because the more that come into the truth and realize the lifetime of deceit that we've lived in, and then realize the truth, the more rapid others wake up, the more rapid this evolving new reality is happening.
That's absolutely beautiful. It's also quite mind-blowing to realize. I keep going back to two quotes I have. One I have in my bedroom that says, "Be still and know that I am God." Now, you can call that creator spirit or whichever term you use.
Yeah.
But also from the Christian teaching, the kingdom of heaven is within.
Yes.
And it's like, go within to find the answers.
Yeah.
To be the light. It's interesting not to pull the light in, which I have done on many occasions, but to bring it up and out,
yes,
rather than bringing it in. So
you breathe it up, you fill yourself with this beautiful, soft, embracing, delicious glow. It's just so beautiful. And then you pour it out into the world, out into other hearts, out into humanity, out into specific situations, particular events, whatever. You just bring it out of yourself. You know, and the interesting thing also, Jude, is that people forget that they're vibrational beings, and that anything, any thought, any feeling, and especially emotion, ripples out from them and influences the field around them. Now, that influence, if that emotion is very, very deep, say it's shame, guilt, grief, regret, the big ones, it can ripple out into a radius of kilometers and kilometers and kilometers. Like, it can take in like a 50 to 100 kilometer area, and every single person in that area is affected to some degree, depending on their openness, depending on their sensitivity. So, you know, we haven't got there yet that we realize or remember how powerful we are. When we meet, when you and me meet, we look at each other, we give each other a smile. The first thing that happens is that between our eyes, there's a connection, and it's vibrational. Then we smile, and there's the vibration again. And then the heart is just already in each other's field. The hearts always connect. And then it's the words, the vibration of the words that we use in this reality. Words aren't used in most realities, but in this one, of course, they are. So when we communicate, we've got all these different levels going on with each other, and we never stop and realize that, you know. I often say to clients, we are together, all the different layers and levels that are going on, and to just be with that, just feel that while we're together, you know. Some people have some profound experiences in the realization of that.
So knowing that everything is within, how does that equate to divine creation being everywhere and omnipresent, omnipotent, etc.? How does that work?
Everything on the outside of us is a co-creation of all of us and a reflection of what we're carrying. So all of creation is actually coming from us as creator beings. We are the creator beings of this reality. It's like we've been given this is just so the mind can take it in. We've always got to talk to that small thinking mind, because that's what we use here at the moment. So we, if you like, have been given this beautiful clear flow. It's pure vibration. It's a flow. It's always moving. It's always looking to create. And here we are as a creator being, as part of that flow, and we can create anything we want within it. That is the world that we live in right now. So we have 8 billion creators here, all creating from their own experiences in their own life. You can imagine what type of a soup that makes. And but that's how it is. That's how it is. So we have a universal energy. We can call that source, God, the master creator being, whatever we wish to, but actually each one of us is that. So each one of us is God, living life our way. Each one of us is source, experiencing itself in this moment, in this now moment. And we are now coming back online with this knowing. We are realizing now, gently, drop by drop, the power of, the exquisite sensitivity, the feeling being that we are, that this thinking mind is not a part of the being that we are, and is right now dissolving. It's gently dissolving. We're using it just gently, less and less. Our memory isn't as sharp as it used to be, because linear time is going as the old world goes. And of course, if linear time goes, the past goes, and there is no future. So we come into this now moment. This present moment experience is all there is right now. So we have 8 billion creator beings all experiencing right now in this moment. So, and that's this reality. That's what this reality is all about.
So we really are, in my way of thinking, the foremothers and forefathers of the new way.
We are.
We're on the pioneering edge, creating the
100%.
beginning of the new reality.
100%. That's why we came, Jude. We put our hand up to be here, to be. So the vision that I was given was, here we are with scrub cutters and scythes, and we are cutting the track through the undergrowth of the old world. And the rest of like following, like the children, the teenagers and all that are all coming up behind as we're cutting this pathway into the new world. Actually, it's rising through us as a creation, so but that's why we're here. And just to add to that, here's another piece. We are also the pioneers of the world when it began, and we are every single one of our own ancestors as well. So we're clearing all the karmic energy right through the family history of all our families. There's like one awake in every family, and that one has opted to let go of all the heavy energy through the family lines in line with bringing in the new earth. This is the end of karma. This lifetime is the end of karma. It will be instant responsibility in the new world. So if we do something that's not quite in alignment with the purity of nature, because we are nature beings, it will be instant responsibility. There's no carrying any karma anymore, So we have so much to remember. There's so much to come online with again. So the team said to me just not too long ago, dear one, you will not even be able to grasp the image of yourself 100 years from now, because your mind cannot conceive that. So we have to grow into it, and we will have realizations every step of the way as we grow back into the beauty of ourself, not the original blueprint. We're actually going to be modified a lot further than the original blueprint. So where we're headed now is brand new holy ground, if you like. It's we're going to be beings we've never been before. So
Wow,
it's exciting.
that's very exciting. We're all going to be our own holy grail, so to
Yes,
speak.
we are. Yes, we are. Yes,
Beautiful.
we are now.
Thank you. So be it.
Yes.
Our greatest strength lies in the gentleness and tenderness of the heart. From Rumi. Your mission is to raise the vibration of love through all that love brings. Would you talk to us, please, about the softening of the mind, which is a term I absolutely love. I love it. It's like the mind is softening. What a beautiful, we're not ripping it out or telling it to get in behind. It's a softening and the opening of hearts to bring us more into unit consciousness. This is a beautiful, I want to say concept, but it's not, because it's a reality.
Yes.
So could you speak about that, please?
Yes, certainly. So we're slowly learning to use the mind less and less. So all our life, and for many lifetimes, we've been taught deliberately by a society that wanted to keep us separate from our truth, that we were mind-driven beings. And the mind must always be fed, and that the intellect was the power of us, and that the logical, practical part of us was what we must use to make common sense decisions in that. All of it is just a fabrication to the being that we are. We are heart-centered, deeply feeling beings. And so we were always shown that if we come into our feelings, we were wussy, we were weak. To show emotion was a weak. Don't ever be vulnerable. That's showing a weakness, you know? So all that. So what's happening now is that we're starting to trust in our feelings again, very gently, very gradually. There are models such as myself and many others who are living life from a feeling place and are modeling that for others and showing others how in a moment you can have a 360-degree view by opening into your feelings and being present in that moment and feeling the field. And rather than standing there with your mind, everything else is closed, and you're trying to work it out, work something out, you know, what happens then is in comes doubt, in comes your fears, in comes your memories, in comes the stories from the past, all the bits that are going to cloud everything and make it all chaotic and hard. So right now we're coming back very gently, it's always a gentle process. We're coming back into being the feeling beings that we are, which is making the mind a little more redundant each time. So it's like a softening down until it gets to a stage where it will just be absorbed back into the heart of us, into the purity of our love, and will become light. So what was a heavy burden before and caused chaos and doubt and fear in our life will become light and help raise us up. So that is the mind, and a lot of people struggle with that because the mind is what they know. The mind is the default program, you know, and it's without giving it any consideration whatsoever, we flick into our mind, you know. So I always say to people, it's just in the moment, right in the moment, as you go to make a decision, as you have a choice, as you go to do an action, you just take a breath and come into presence. So you take a breath and then you just go, here now. And that's your we command to yourself that you are now present in the moment. And then you ask yourself the question, what would love do in this moment? What choice would love make? How would love act right now? And then you have the courage to do that. That's the piece. So you can know, and when you ask, what would love do now? What choice would love make now? You're not waiting for an answer, because the moment there's a lull, a space, you're in your mind will trick you and take over. So you ask the question and you already know with body, with your body heart awareness, what the answer is. It's already there before you've even finished asking the question. So, and that's a wee practice that I give my groups that I run and clients and that, to just practice that. And, you know, it may only be you remember twice a week or once a week for a start, but it's a start. It's always a start, you know. So we've got to all start somewhere. So that's
beautiful.
Yeah, that's the softening down of the mind.
I love that. My next question talks a little bit about what you've just mentioned. Interestingly enough, the synchronicities, I love them. Could you talk of the old ways falling away now, which you have been a little? How the old paradigms don't work as well. Men were told not to cry, to show vulnerability. Emotions were repressed to conform to the norm and not to show our true feelings honestly with ourselves and others, and how we were being shut down mentally, emotionally, and physically. Do you think there's any more to be said about that, or do you think you've covered that?
Well, you know, Jude, how can a feeling being, a naturally feeling being, exist within a world, live within a world, if they can't feel? You know, so that's what this society all around this world has done. Those that have been running this society behind the scenes have deliberately gone out of their way in every way possible, through every avenue they have found, to be able to keep us separate from ever knowing our true being, our true nature. And so, yes, we've never, ever, ever been encouraged to show our vulnerability, to stand in the moment and speak our truth, never to hurt another, but to honor ourselves. And that's so empowering, so empowering. And, you know, to be present, to show up and to be present with ourselves, and tell ourselves that we are worthy, and to tell ourselves that we deserve our love. You know, because we've been taught also that it's selfish to put yourself first. Well, actually, it's selfless, because when we look after ourselves and we learn that deep self-love, we realize that at our core, we are pure love. We have so much more to give everybody else. In fact, we want to give to everybody else because it makes us feel so wonderful to give and make somebody else happy. Be thoughtful, be kind, be gentle, be present, be compassionate, you know, just be there. And especially in conversation, I notice so many people now don't know how to listen. So they come into a conversation, and the moment another person says something, it triggers something, and then they cut across and they're into their own stuff. Haven't heard a word the other person said. So even to just learn to be present again and hold the space so the other one can talk and not interrupt whatsoever. It's such a gift, such a gift. And then we have our say when that person's finished. So that person feels seen, they feel heard, you know, so that's really empowering as well. So this is the old world leaving, which is a world of duality. It's a world of polarity. It's a world of separation. It's a world where love has always been here. It's never not been here, but it's a world where love couldn't rise. It couldn't allow itself to be expressed because we had shut it down so completely. So we lived within fear and everything that fear brought us instead. And now we're moving away from all that. That's all complete. All that experience is done with now. And we're moving back into the natural state of being of who we are, which brings everything our hearts could dream for. Every deepest heart's desire will be known in the new world. Eventually. We've just got a little tunnel to get through first, and a bit of cleaning up to do, a little bit of housekeeping of the world before we get there.
That's beautiful. And I know with one particular dear friend I have, when he hears you talking, he hears you and he sees you. He is totally in the present with you. And I love that. See? Because you feel seen and heard.
Yes. Absolutely.
And it's wonderful.
Yes.
Absolutely wonderful. Yeah. And one thing I will say with my father, he never heard me. He might have been there, but he never heard.
No.
And it's so wonderful to have someone that hears and sees. And also, like you say, that you can hold space for someone else to speak. There's nothing worse than having someone cut you off. And my feeling is they don't want to hear what I have to say. So I keep my truths to myself in that moment. And one of my family members, if that person sees that, will say afterwards, "What were you going to say?" They know. They know.
Yes.
But it's fascinating. It's a learning curve for everyone. And it's wonderful to think we're moving into such an incredible time. And one of the reasons we have been born again to be here. As a
100.
multi-dimensional being, could you please speak of your knowings to deeper understandings of life lessons, missions, and awakenings?
Oh,
However you see it, you don't have to take it all on board. Just whatever comes to heart for you.
Yes, I love it. Thank you. Thank you. So when we come into our multi-dimensional, well, we are multi-dimensional now, but when we come into our knowing of it, when we come into our consciousness of it, we'll be able to move through from this dimension into the aspects of ourself in other dimensions, because right now, right in this now moment, because the universe is only in this now moment, every aspect of us, every aspect of our soul is living life in their own way, in their own civilization, in their own form, right now in this moment. So at the moment, because of the construct of the mind, we're completely separate from all that. All that is conceptual. But the day is coming as we are, as the edges, so this is how the team said to me, the edges are fading, the edges are dissolving. So we are knowing ourselves more and more and more as the vibrational field itself. So when we become that fluid, that flexible, that open in our knowing, we will be able to come and go from this dimension into other dimensions, into the aspects of ourselves that are, you know, having different lifetimes. And so in the new world, way down the track, there will be no such thing as death. So the death of the body is really only been created in this matrix, for this time period that we've been in for many thousands of years. Really, the body has been designed to last a very, very, very long time. And in the future world, it won't be near as solid as it is now. It will be a lot loose, more loosely packed, if you like. So more fluid, more translucent. We won't have joints like we've got now. What they've showed me is it'll be more a fluid arm, a fluid leg. We will have form. We will still have beautiful form, but we will be able to easily move through the different vibrations of the different realities, and go and be in an aspect of ourselves somewhere else, and then come back into this beautiful world here when we feel like it. So no dying and leaving the body and all that anymore. It'll just be just pure life, pure life. So if we want to have the experience of back in all the elements of nature, then we simply transform and merge back into nature for a while, and then we can come back into a body form again. So the day will come where there is no birth, there will be no babies born, and there's no sick or elderly people dying. We will be we'll be full of life, we'll be full of vibrancy, always, no disease, no illness, no unbalance, no nothing like we've been experiencing for eons of time in this particular world. So a very, very different experience whatsoever, a real stretch for some people to even be able to understand that. But just in my sharing tonight, I'm just planting little seeds that will just burst into flower in their own time within people. You might get a book off a shelf, or you might be in a conversation at some stage in the future and you'll go, oh yes, I've heard that, and then that seed grows a little bit more, you know. So yeah.
Can I ask about the young souls that would have wished to have been born into our future time in that respect? When you're saying
they'll still come in, so they still come in. So they will come in already in their beautiful fluid light body,
Yep.
or they will take a body that's here. If the soul energy wants to depart, go back into nature or something, they will take that body on. So
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That explains that part for me. Thank you. That's lovely. Wow, this is so incredible to hear all these beautiful truths, Janine. I'm loving what you're talking about, and your wisdom and your illuminations are beautiful.
Thank you.
We are moving into the new world, birthed by our own creations, and by the creations of Gaia, the solar guardians, and up to and including divine creator, or probably I should be saying and within as divine creator, through the vibrations of love, which are now intensifying on this beautiful planet. We've come to the end of the great year, a 25-odd thousand year cycle, and several cycles of planetary movements. We are now at the beginning of the new cycle of rebirth on so many levels. Could you talk about these truths, please?
Well, exactly what you've said is the truth, and we're just coming into a whole new cycle of like an evolution of, we've done the duality, we've done the separateness, we've done the heavy, we've done the fear, we've done all that for so long, and now we're moving into the lighter period of unity, of community, of lightness, so we're experiencing everything at the other end of the spectrum now. So we will still have freedom of choice. We've always had freedom of choice. Unfortunately, we didn't realize that we had that freedom of choice and that we were creating our experiences via our choices in the moment. It's only been recently that we've realized that a choice point is a very powerful part for us. But now we will be consciously aware that any choice we make in the moment and will govern the next steps of our life, will govern the direction we go in. And instead of having a spectrum from the deeply negative to the highly positive, in the new world, we're halfway up that spectrum. And so it's from the bottom end of the positive to the highest end of the positive. So we still have quite a field of choice. We still have the odd challenge and things like that, because we like to be challenged. We don't want to just be in a flow of bliss for the rest of our life. There's no real experience in that. So we will still have our challenges in life, but they'll be vastly different to struggling to survive like we've been doing for eons of time. You know, there won't be any struggle anymore. So yeah, so we're coming into what's termed as the new age, and that's the human term for it, and it's just the next evolution of experiences for us as soul.
Beautiful. Love it. We also have so much help now from on-world and off-world beings.
Yeah, we do.
This is such an orchestration inside and outside of space-time. Could you speak about this at all?
Yes, certainly. There's many, 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 many civilizations that are supporting what's happening here at the moment, because this has never happened in quite this way before. So normally all life is taken off a planet before a planet evolves and morphs and changes. But this time, for the first time, the universal energy wants the life force to stay on it and go with it. So there is so many civilizations that are supporting, that are walking with us, that are embodied, that are working behind the scenes with off-world and advanced technologies. There are some beings here that have been here for a long time that do not have our highest good as their goal, that have their own agenda, and they have very advanced technologies. And so the beautiful benevolent ones that are with us are kind of counteracting that with their technologies. Behind the scenes, there is a lot happening that would blow a thinking mind right out of orbit. So, but it's all happening, and it's all in divine timing. The divine plan is perfectly on track. And to be completely honest, we have already finished this and completed this, and a lot of us here have come from the future world, even though there's no future. So come from the future now moment back to support this world into that world more rapidly. So many beings here now embodied that actually are already from the new world that's thriving, and they've embodied here to support a more rapid transition there. So there's a lot of beings here that you would pass in the street and think's just Mrs. Jones down the road or Mr. Smith over the back fence, and really the being inside those beautiful people are something you would see on a science fiction movie or something like that, you know. And this is reality. And you know that on here tonight within this group, there will be many beautiful beings that weren't inhabitants of this this planet for many lifetimes, or maybe only one lifetime or something like that, that are here for a reason. Even if it's just to anchor their light within their neighborhood, they're doing a job. In fact, that's a big job. Anchoring and influencing the field, the vibrational field around the area that they live in, holding that space for everybody within that area. You know, the person who goes into the factory each day and is standing on the conveyor line, you know, they could be the most beautiful light being, and they're in there doing the same thing, holding the space, holding the frequency, the vibration, influencing the people in there. So, and this is how the light workers all around the world are doing their bit everywhere, little pinpoints of light everywhere.
We're infiltrating from within in more ways than
Absolutely.
one.
Yes, we are. Totally.
Which is so fantastic. How do you see the new world unfolding? How do you see what we would call our future? What does that look like to you in the coming years?
Wow. So this may rock a few socks too. So we're in for great change. So in communication, I was told that nothing will be the same, that our lives will be tipped upside down and turned inside out, because how we're living now is not conducive to our true nature and to the natural world, to a natural world that we are innately a part of. So we must change, and we won't change by ourselves, because the moment anything dies down, we're back into our normal routine, our normal patterns. We're saying, oh, thank goodness nothing came of that fuel. Let's just get on. You know, we'll have the Sunday roast and blah, blah, blah. And so change is coming knocking at everyone's door, so that there is no way it can be avoided. And so that may look like we come into communities to live, that we support each other through these communities, that we barter. I'm not saying that we all leave our houses, but we come into communities within the area where we're living. We get to know each other deeply. We barter for skills, for food, so there'll be no money, no type of currency whatsoever in the new world. The currency will be love, pure love, and the giving and receiving of pure love, in the gestures and the actions that are willingly shared amongst everybody. So it's like coming into unity, coming into community, coming into supporting, to holding space, to loving, to seeing each other. You know, it's like truth, honesty, transparency amongst everyone. We will all be transparent to each other. there, because we will all have the ability of being able to read or pick up the data in the feelings. And so every one of us will be transparent. So we've got to clean our act up there. We can't have these wee sneaky thoughts and things going on, you know, because until the mind's gone completely, we'll still be able to have thoughts for a long time. So right now we are learning to be authentic. We're learning that even in a moment by ourselves, we must act integrally. We must always act integrally because we are always watching ourselves. And the day's coming where it feels rugged. It feels harsh if we don't do the right thing. We live with that for days and days if we don't take a right action or say the right thing. We can't just say it or do it now and brush it off. Doesn't happen anymore. It's with us. You know, it's with us so that the next time we do better. And it's not about beating ourselves up for doing it or putting ourselves down or berating ourselves. It's about being with the feeling of how we are because we didn't do the right thing then. And how can we do that better next time? So, you know, the new world is vastly different. The journey to it will be rugged at times, but the journey isn't a long one. So we're only looking at, so it's taken hundreds of thousands of years to get here, or thousands and thousands of years to get here. And it's only going to take a year or two to break it all down and then start deeply restoring the world to how we want it, you know. So we will have times where we're going to just throw ourselves in our seat and say, I can't do this anymore. This is too much for me. You know, I don't know where my next mouthful of food's coming from, or I don't know how I'm going to cope. I've got no money, or whatever it is. But we will get through it because in those moments, our neighbours help, our friends and family help. You know, this is how we're going to learn to be really supportive of each other. And I lived in Christchurch at the time of all the earthquakes, and I was there for the whole 5 years of all those earthquakes. And I watched that happen on a very smaller level to globally. I watched that happen. And I said to the team, I can really see what's happening here. With communities grew within communities. Neighbours helped neighbours that had never spoken before, you know. There was always people around supporting each other, giving things, sharing their cars. If people's cars had been lost and under things or broken or what, just anything and everything was being shared and supported and helped. So and so many people saw the heavy and the harsh and the dark side of those 5 years, but there was so much beauty, there's so much right that came out of that over those 5 years that I was witnessing. And but you know, a lot of people just get stuck in their own stuff and don't realize that. So
we had a good dummy run, didn't we?
Yeah. Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
It was an incredible time on all aspects, really.
I went through
Wow.
I went through 3 houses in that time.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And when I came to Auckland, I didn't have much left to give away.
Oh, bless your heart. As humans, we know our greatest journey is to the venture inward, our soul. And she stopped and she heard what the trees said to her. And she sat there for hours, not wanting to leave. For the forest said nothing. It just let her breathe.
Isn't that beautiful?
By Becky Hemsley,
Yeah.
that you had posted.
Yeah.
And I thought that was so, so beautiful.
Because, you know, stillness is the place where we thrive. Stillness and quiet. To come in away from the busyness of a chaotic world and take a breath and just drop into the stillness of ourself. No formula, no steps, no techniques for meditation, nothing. We just stop, sit and breathe. That's all we have to do. And in that place of stillness, we meet ourselves. Our soul is always in there waiting. for our consciousness to come down and be with it. So it's just about realizing that. And when we experience it more and more, we want to experience it more and more.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We're talking about our new world being created. And also, if you could talk, please, about the inner doorways opening now within all human beings, through which the purity of love rises. This is a fascinating topic. And how do you see this unfolding in our new way of being?
Wow. Pure love is actually rising now, and it rises in our awareness of it. So it's never not there. It has always been there. It's never been a moment that the pure love, the purity of who we are, the truth of us has not been there. But we've shut it off. Our mind has shut it off, has closed the door on it. And now that door is wide open. So it's entirely up to our awareness of that pure love that brings it the flow through. So the flow is happening now, this beautiful flow within us, this beautiful knowing that's rising, deep knowing, where every question that we pose, we know the answer to already. We don't have to seek outside of ourselves for anything. All we have to do is trust in ourselves and the answers that we get. So love is doing all this. Love is bringing the knowing. Love is connecting us on all levels of ourself. Love is the avenue that takes us into all the aspects of ourself. Love, the heart and love. The heart is the portal through. The love is the pathway in. And so this is what takes us into ourself, into the universe, into our experiences, into all these other dimensions and layers of ourself. It's love itself, which is what we are. So we are beings of light, frequency of light, the purity of love, all-knowing creator beings. As I said earlier, so deeply powerful, so incredibly wondrous, so exquisitely extraordinary that we can't even, I can find these human words here that don't even come close to describing who we're going to find ourselves to be as we come into ourselves, as we try ourselves on more. But love is our guide. Love is taking us there. Love is bringing us home to ourselves. And all our life, there's been this little, there's been a feeling, there's been a niggle, there's been a wonder, there's been some sort of a memory, but not quite knowing what it is. But we've been a seeker. We've always searched for something. So this is it. This is it. We've wanted our truth. There's been a part of us, the tiniest part, that's never forgotten. And we've wanted our truth back again. And this is our freedom coming, because when we are fully in our knowing as a being of the purity of love, we are free of this, could call it prison world or mind constructed world, the prison of our own thoughts, but we are free. And to do that, though, we must be ready to change. And change means not doing the habitual patterns in the moment that we normally do them, not switching the telly on every night at 6 o'clock to watch the news and eat our TV dinner in front of the news. All the stuff out there is geared to keep us separate, to keep us in our mind, not to read the paper every Sunday morning. None of that's true. None of that stuff in there. It's all scripted to keep us in our fear, to keep us in our doubt, not to believe the global narratives that are going on out there, whatever they may be. There's an agenda, there's stories within them all. They are not what they appear to be. So it's like, come back, come into ourself where the real is found. The only real in this reality at the moment is found within us, ourselves. In that quiet, still place, in that calmness, in that peace. Just be centered there, and life moves around us more. It doesn't impact us so much. It kind of opens up and moves around. So I think I go off track a little with your questions.
Not
Jude.
at all. It was absolutely beautiful. I'm mesmerized by the thoughts and feelings with those words.
That's
Absolutely beautiful. Now, is there anything else you would like to discuss with us, or anything else your team would like to have us know before we maybe open to questions?
So simply, just very, very simply, the team want to plant the seed in everybody here tonight that you are an absolutely exquisitely beautiful and powerful being. And there has never been a moment that you have not been this being, and that you've been having an experience of smallness, of limitation, of duality, of separateness. This has been your experience. To see what it was like to live through fear, to experience the doubt of yourself, to live within the closeness of a world that you never seem to fit in. And all that has come to an end now. All of it has come to an end. What you call the matrix here in this world has ceased. The only thing that keeps it alive is within your own mind. And when you realize that, you will be free of it. So, yeah, that's the message.
Thank you so much. That is absolutely beautiful. Thank you to you and your beautiful team. Oh my goodness.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thanks.
This is absolutely incredible. Before we open to questions, can I ask, please, what you offer people and how people can find you?
Certainly. So my website is theheartlady.net, and I got that name through a couple of public talks many years ago, when people actually said, "You're the Heart Lady." And when I heard it twice, I thought the second time, oh, well, that must be a message to be called the Heart Lady. So theheartlady.net is the website, and I'm on Facebook as Janine Savient, and Instagram, and Patreon, and I do one-on-ones online. I have many clients from around the world that I do one-on-ones online with, and I run weekly groups. I won't like 5 week, they're a 5-week block. And I'm not running one at the moment. I'm supporting writing a book. I'm writing a chapter. There's 25 of us around the world writing a chapter each in a book. And so I've got that as my focus at the moment. But once that's done, then I've got probably a dozen people waiting now for the next 5-week block weekly course. So, and yeah, I support any way I can with anybody that comes to me privately that's got a really heavy situation and they just need a bit of support. Like I do that as well. And I public talks as well. Yeah.
Thank you, Janine. I had the most beautiful reading with Janine myself, and it was very heartfelt and in-depth and so accurate to where I am at and where I was at the time. I was truly grateful because I could feel your energy, your frequencies. They're very pure. They're very high vibe. And you're just such a gorgeous girl, let's face it.
Thank you.
So,
thank you, Jude.
Thank you. So can we open up to anyone that would like to ask a question before we close, please? Does anyone have a question for Janine? Hi there. Would you like to ask a question?
Yes.
Hi, Terry.
How are you, Janine? Thank you very much for your wisdom.
Thank you.
You said that you were awaken. Did this happen when you were just a little dot, or did it happen as an adult?
It happened in 2011 on an operating table, having heart surgery. And I came in when the body stopped. When it ceased during that operation, it completely stopped. And that moment is when I came into the body. So a walk-in normally happens in some moment when there is a lull, a pause, sometimes it's actual death and before the body revives, and other times it's in a very tragic circumstance where the body's in a very low ebb, or in very deep depression it can happen. But yes, there is a slowing down of life in some way, then the aspect comes in.
So as Janine, you still had the awareness as a child, a baby.
100% now.
Okay.
I didn't when I first came in. I had to integrate all that. Had to blend with all the cellular memory in the body.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm.
So there was, for a while there, Sherry, there was, I called for the first 2 or 3 years, I called Janine Mark 1 and Janine Mark 2. So until the blending was complete, which took about 6 or 7 years, every aspect had to be blended and centered, and all cellular memory had to be blended in with me, and then I just became one. The merge happened.
Okay.
And that rings true with me, because it takes 7 years for every part of the body to regenerate. And from other people I have known of that have had a transmigration of soul, they've often said it's 7 years to fully integrate within the body, which kind of makes sense. I mean, it may have speeded up now, I don't know, but that kind of makes great sense to me as well.
So the team said to me it used to be 14 to 21 years.
Wow.
Because I moaned, I did a bit of a moan, 7 years. And they said, well, dear one, it's rapid now. It used to be 14 to 21 years.
Wow, that's a long time.
But I had to leave Christchurch because I was so vastly different, and none of my friends or family could work out the difference in me. So I had to actually go somewhere and live somewhere else where nobody knew me whatsoever. That's why I came to Auckland. Or else I'd probably still be in Christchurch in my hometown.
Can always come back, girlfriend.
I know. Thank you.
You never know. You never know.
That's right.
Do your family find you different?
They did to start with, and my children were very perplexed and a little hurt. And I worked very, very diligently to get the bonds of affection back with the children and the grandchildren. That was important. As to very close friends, they could see the difference remarkably. And one friend said to me that I've known like most of my life, she said to me, you could pack a suitcase and get on a plane and just fly out without a backward glance, couldn't you? And I went, yes. And then I realized I'd hurt her because they didn't know. I wasn't allowed to say a word about how I'd arrived and who I was now or anything for about 18 months, because their vibrational influence could have impacted the blending. So the team said to me, you say nothing to nobody. So it was really, really difficult. Then after 18 months, I was allowed to sit my 3 very good friends down. I explained to them what was going on for the previous 18 months, and they were so relieved. So relieved. But the funny thing, Sherry, is they still tried to treat me like the old Janine. So in every way, because that's who they'd known all their life. So that's why I had to leave. I had to pack up everything and go, because I just couldn't be that person any longer.
And that's totally understandable, isn't it? Yeah. For someone to treat you as they knew you.
Yes, of course.
As they felt you were and how they loved you then.
Yes, that's right. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Does that answer your question? Sorry, Sherry, go on.
It's a concept that it's very hard to get your mind around. There's the mind back again.
Yes, that's the mind. Just allow it to settle in your heart, just to feel it, just to feel it. That's where your truth will come from. Yeah.
And often you'll find a higher aspect of soul or another higher soul that has an octagonal frequency can come into the body as long as there's a match, but a higher vibration usually to carry out a mission, so it doesn't have to go through the birthing process.
No, that's right, exactly. In fact, a lot of people who want to leave, they're given the option rather than the body ceasing and leaving that way. They're given the option for them to just leave and somebody else come in and take the body over. And that is happening, like that's hundreds of thousands of times now in this world right now. That is what's
Wow.
happening with the changing of the guard.
Beautiful. And it also,
Yeah.
I think, gives merit to, say, a person thinking they're going to take their life because they've just had a guts full, nothing's working, they don't see any way out, to be offered the opportunity to give their body to a higher being gives the one wanting to leave more merit rather than a, doing themselves in type thing.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. But also that higher being has to carry out the rest of the karma for that person.
Yes.
Before they can carry on with their own mission.
Yes, they do. Absolutely.
So it's not an easy road, is it?
All that is given to the aspect before it comes into the body. It knows everything, that it's got a map. It's got a roadmap of its life for the next few years.
Wow. Is there anything else you wanted to say, Cherry?
Thank you.
Okay. Is there anyone else that would like to speak and have a chat with Janine? How are you, my love?
Yes, I'm good, thank you. Sorry, I came to the conversation late, and lovely Talina let me know that this was happening, so I've missed some of it, and I'm hoping that my question will be okay to ask.
I'm sure it will be perfect.
Thank you. Something that's really on my heart, and it often makes me cry, is because it just hurts my heart so much, and that is with all that's going on in the world right now and the human and soul collateral damage as things are progressing and waiting for this new world to come, I can't fathom the allowance of that. Are you able to share any insight on, have they said anything about that in regards to what humanity has to go through?
Okay, V. So when we step away from the human level of looking at life, we step away from any judgment we may have on human behavior and how humans are treating each other and the earth and nature and everything else. And we raise up into the observer position, which is the higher position of ourself, and we observe what's going on through no judgment, in the knowing that every single soul here is having an experience and living life through their own choices. So really, to us, when we look at it from the human perspective, one soul is deeply hurting another soul, and that other soul's in pain. But when the human is hurting another human, and the human is in pain, I should say, when we raise up to the observer position and we see the overview of it, one soul is having an experience of doing harm, but it's an experience, and the other soul is having the experience of being harmed, and that is just an experience too. So soul, the level of soul, loves it all. We love every experience we can have, every tangible experience here. There is no judgment from that level of right, wrong, heavy, light, fear, dark, whatever. There is no right or wrong. There simply is. Everything is just an experience. When we can reach that level of overview, we don't feel pain ourselves at what we're seeing. We understand that these souls they have opted for this experience. They have chosen to go through this and have this experience. I know that's hard to take in for a lot of people, but that's how it is. Judgment comes, hurt, pain comes from our mind, from our thinking mind. It all comes from that area where we've been taught what's right and what's wrong, what's good and what's bad, and we live our life from those judgments. So one human being taking a knife, this is just an example, and putting it into another human being, we would immediately go, oh my God, that's so wrong to do, to take a life. But the soul whose life is being taken has chosen to have their life taken. They have chosen to have that experience of a knife put in them so that they pass in that way, that have that experience. So a hard concept, V, but that is, I would say to you, just step back from it. And any pain that you feel, any deep pain that you have inside you, is something within you to look at. It's an invitation for you to come into that pain and just see, where did that pain start in you? Why are you carrying that pain? What has happened in your own life that's built that pain up, that now whenever you look out and see something, that pain is triggered in you? You see, it's not what you're viewing that's just the trigger, it's actually what you're carrying. And right now, V, we are letting it all go. Every single part that we're carrying that is not of the purity of love is dissolving in us. It's rising up first. It will play out around us, so we will see it in our world in some way. And so we can come back in the invitation to look at what we're feeling in that moment. So if you're feeling pain, then you look at that hurt, that wounding, that pain within yourself. Do you understand?
Well, in some aspects, like I've had things that have happened and I have gone to energy workers and I've had to seek help.
Yes.
Because they weren't things that I agreed to, because they weren't part of what, they just weren't part of what was supposed to have happened. They are also the ones that are doing a lot of stuff that's happening here that's all being revealed now.
Yes, yes.
I'm sorry, I from my own experience, I can't accept the fact that we agree to everything, because for me and other people that I know that have experienced similar things from,
No, I hear
it's
you.
not true.
Yeah, I do hear you, V, and it's a very difficult place to actually, when you've been in the experience of it yourself, right in that particular experience, what you're talking about, it's very hard to lift up to the overview and see it that that the soul wanted to experience that, because it's very hard from the human level of being in it to reach that place. So I totally honor and I hear what you're saying, and I honor that, V. And what I would say is that it's coming to an end. All that behavior is coming to an end. It's all going to be revealed first. All the truth is going to come out, because that's part of the healing of humanity, that all the truth will come out and be revealed so that it can be healed within everybody. You know, when we're faced with the truth, when it's revealed, it's great healing for humanity. So you will see it all come out in the very near future. All the systems are going to break down, and all that's been hidden is going to be revealed.
Yeah, but this wasn't other humans that did it.
Yeah. No,
You understand
yes.
that I'm saying that?
I'm just trying to work out whereabouts you are in yourself and what it actually is that you experienced without you saying, so that I can give you an overview of it that would be bring you clarity.
Well, I think I probably have to talk to you in private.
Yeah. Very welcome to, V.
Yeah, so is there, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there like, a lot of the stuff online says, oh, the truth's going to be revealed soon, and I'm going, well, are they up to the S, or are they up to the 2 O's, or are they up to the M? Like, so,
Yes.
where are we? Like, soon means nothing. Soon
So
can be a millennium,
So my knowing is that we'll be through this by 2026. It was going to be 2025, but it morphs and changes because of the influence and the vibration of humanity itself. I mean, there's 8 billion creative beings within this mix, so there's no set guidelines to anything. So what was going to take to 2025 is now going to be 2026, but even so, that's still only like 1.5, 2 years away. So in that time, you're going to see a heck of a lot revealed. Like it's all going to come out. It's all going to come out. It won't come out all at once. It's already starting to come out. There's little bits starting to come out, and you're just going to see it coming more like a snowball. So, but it is all going to come out, V, because it's all part of the healing of humanity. People must see what they didn't see before. They must see what's been hidden for the healing to happen in themselves. And what will happen is anarchy will happen for a while. People will be so shocked, they'll be so upset at how they've been misled and how they've been treated and lied to, that a lot of people will go a bit crazy with that. So that's a bit of the darkness that we've got to go through yet.
Right. Cool. Thank you for that. I appreciate that answer and your delicate nature in which you answered it. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, V. Thank you.
I feel for you too, V. I think I have some understanding of what you're talking about, and some people have done some stuff that is definitely not okay, not appropriate. But at the end of the day, I guess it's all soul learning. It's all experiencing. I'm not condoning it by any means.
No.
But we are coming into an amazing time. Janine, do you have any final word for us?
No, I think I've said a lot of words tonight.
They've all been wonderful. I would just love to offer you much love for you graciously accepting my invitation.
Thank you.
To join us this day on a Cosmic Cuppa with Jude. And what we're going to do is play your beautiful music in closing. So everyone, if you want to hang around for about 5 minutes, we're going to hear this beautiful music that's been put together with her friend Robert.
I wrote the lyrics and he did the music and he's singing. Yes.
Which we're going to listen to now. Before we do that, if you are watching on YouTube, please like, share and subscribe. And as we know, peace on earth, it starts with you. It starts with me. So God bless you. God bless you, Janine. Thank you so much.
God bless you too. Thank you.
And now, with Lee's permission, we'll listen to this beautiful music on closing. God bless.
When the dark is done and the light has come and the shadows fall away, into love's flow is where we go on this vibrant, joyful day. As we hear love's call, as we feel her pull, we sense our destiny. Surrendering everything into the endless sea. It is dead and I go. It is where I want to be. in unity, all wrongs can be undone. Experience our universe, and all that is as one. It is there that I go. It is where I want to be, into love's flow. I feel her healing me. Through my breath, my heart requests full presence from my core. For it's in the now I find my strength, as my soul cries out for more. As I know, I feel the glow of the Lord inside of me. I bow before eternal bliss of soul's eternity. It is there that I go. It is where I want to be, into love's flow. I feel her healing me. When the dark is done and the light has come and the shadows fall away, into love's flow is where we go on this vibrant, joyful day. As we hear love's call, as we feel her pull, we sense our destiny, surrendering everything into the endless sea. It is there that I go. It is where I want to be, into love's flow. I feel her healing me.
Thank you so much. That was so beautiful.
Thank you, Jude. Thank you, everybody.
It puts us into a beautiful space. So on that note, I will say good night to everyone. God bless, sweet dreams, and keep the love coming out of that heart, baby. Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Good night,
night, everyone.
everyone. Bye-bye.